And indeed, a very good evening to everybody joining us this evening, this wonderful sunny Sunday evening for what is going to be a fantastic webinar. It's how to safely quit your job and start a profitable property business. So I'd just like to extend my welcome. There's still people coming in now. We've got quite a few people booked on. Some of them are struggling to get in. Some of them are in. So if you're in, welcome, thank you, and indeed, great to have you here. We will be going for a full presentation, and then after the presentation, we'll have a question and answer. So if you do have any questions, I please ask that you just keep your microphones on mute for the presentation, and then afterwards, we'll have a full question and answer session where you get the opportunity to ask any questions about anything to myself, to Luke, to Fran, about today's presentation. So just before we start, I'd just like to introduce obviously myself, and I'd like to introduce Luke and Fran. Luke sorts out all of the technicalities of our business. He's instrumental in bringing a fantastic platform to you all, which has made our training and mentorship and our property business absolutely incredible over the past couple of years. Fran has joined us as well. Fran, now she'll introduce herself later actually during the presentation, but she's got a fantastic wealth of experience in the serviced accommodation sector, which is massive at the moment, and it's going to become even bigger, and I believe even better as a better proposition. But I'll let Fran talk about that. It's not about me, it's about her. So without further ado, I will press on with today's presentation. We'll be talking about me and my journey, the roadmap to leave your job safely, how to replace your income through property, the realistic timeframes and the financial planning involved in this, and the common traps to avoid. We want to do this, but we want to do it in a safe and a financially secure fashion. Okay, so that's really, really important. And always, 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 for those of you old enough to remember blankety blank, when you come on one of our programs, you get not the checkbook, because the checkbooks are obsolete now, but you get the checkbook. Remember the blankety blank checkbook and pen? You actually get a pen. Okay, it's a free gift. It's a joke. It's a Ben pen. You all get a free gift, but there are several other free gifts that we will be giving during this presentation to thank you for giving up a little bit of time on your Sunday evening and joining us here. You need to stay to the end to get them, though. That's the only catch. You need to stay to the end to get the free gifts. So without any more delay, I'll just talk about myself very quickly. I grew up around property. My father's a chartered surveyor. As a child, I was dragged around offices, industrial units, shops, etc. And latterly, he had residential estate agencies. I've got 25 plus years experience myself in the property industry, working independently. I've worked in estate agency, I've worked in auctions, and I've worked in commercial property finance, where we had our own finance brokerage, which has really helped me on my journey. My claim to fame is I co-own and ran Wales' largest independent estate agent, and we've also got the most established property sourcing business in Wales. I was the first person to work as an investment consultant, sourcing property mainly for investors from outside the area here in South Wales. I've taught, I've coached so many people over the years, and I've got 50 plus people that I've taught and I've mentored through from zero to hero in their own property journey. So the success of these people really warms my heart. But it's not about me, guys. It's about you, and it's about your journey. So let's press on. Now, you're all here because you perhaps want to quit your job. Now, I'm not talking about quitting your job today, tomorrow, next week, possibly not even next month. But quitting your job doesn't have to mean that it's a risky business, okay? I want to ensure through our expertise and through our systems that we have in place that quitting your job and starting your own property business will be a smooth, it'll be a financially secure transition, and it will also be an enjoyable one for you. Now, I never advise my mentees to take big risks. I'm not a big risk taker myself. Years ago, I was. Many, many years ago, as a younger man, I was a big risk taker, but everything I do has a real big adversity towards risk. So if any of you are worried, which quite a few of you probably are, about taking that huge leap of faith from your job to self-employment, please fear not, because it will be done in a very secure way, okay? If you follow the right systems and you've got the right blueprints in place, it's going to be a really enjoyable process, and it will get you to where you really want and need to be for yourself, for your family, and the people around you, because you can't buy time. And that's the most important thing that I've discovered in life. You can't miss those special moments, those moments with your children, with your grandchildren, those moments around us, the opportunities to travel. You know, so many people I speak to, they say, well, when I retire, I'm going to do this. And hang on a second, what, you're going to go bungee jumping when you're 75? Okay, good luck. Let's do it now. Let's look at how we can accelerate our lives today. Let's look at how we can move from where we're perhaps unhappy to a place that is happiness for us. And why do you want to escape the humdrum of your 9 to 5? I mean, it could be that you've got a lack of freedom, low or limited income. And I hated that. I mean, it's been 25 plus years since I was employed. But one of the things I hated about being employed was I was not in charge of my own destiny. I was reliant upon the people and the corporate structure around me, so that if I made the grade or the person above me liked me, I could move on and move up. And to me, that's no way. You know, we want to move at our own pace. Everybody's different. We've all got our own set agendas within, and we want to move at our pace, not at the pace that a corporate or an employer or somebody else, and somebody else perhaps suppressing and squashing us, will want us to move at. So many people are burnt out because they're trying too hard. They've got a lack of fulfillment, and they're fed up of repeating the same mundane tasks day and day and day and day after day after day after day. You have no control over your future. And it's also something that's really important, guys. Listen to this. It's a huge risk. To be employed with one income is a huge risk. Gone are the days of a job for life. You know, certain occupations, they used to carry the title, didn't they? Thinking back over the years, they used to carry the title a job for life, but there's no such thing as a job for life anymore. You know, even these secure jobs we used to think of, you hear people being made redundant. You hear teachers, police officers, civil servants, all the occupations. I mean, when I look at sort of, for example, my stepfather, he retired as a DI from the police force in Liverpool. His pension is absolutely gilt-edged, gold-plated. He gets paid a really good wage, and he hasn't been to work for about 25 years, but he gets paid a really good wage. Sadly, those days are now gone. There's not a corporation, there's not a government body or a company that will give you, A, that level of security, and B, that level of remuneration once you finish working. That is how we live in society today. So when people say to me, well, it's much safer to, you don't want to be self-employed, it's much safer to get a job with a corporate or a big, that corporation, I mean, how many corporations have we seen go, big multinational corporations that were the stable of our lives, have gone and disappeared into administration within, you know, the past, if you think back over the past 10 years, especially in sectors like retail, for example, things like Woolworths and Comet and, you know, Wilco's recently. These huge companies that you perhaps thought you'd have a career for life with have disappeared. So your one income from this particular job that was supposed to be safe and secure has now gone. All your eggs were in one basket. If you are self-employed, if you have a property business, any sort of self-employed business where you have multiple streams of income, multiple clients, if one of the two of them, three of them drop off, yes, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to kill you. Okay, your business will still survive and your business will still move on. So in my mind, the most secure thing is to be A, in charge of your own destiny, and B, have multiple streams of income that a property business will successfully give you. Okay, so here's the problem. Most people, they jump too soon. They get a great idea, they watch a few YouTube videos, they go on Instagram, social media networks, whatever they do, they get this information and they jump too soon. They don't have a clear business plan. They get stuck in self-employment, or indeed employment, self-employment that's like another job. And that is a real trap for them. They rely on motivation and they don't rely upon systems. Now, we need a very strict and stable system that will give us the structure for a business that's not built on foundations of sand. A business is built on foundations of stone. something that we can rely on, something that our families can rely on, something that we've got a legacy to hand on in the future. And all of these positives that I'm mentioning now can come about from a successful property business. There's a safer way, and that is the phased exit strategy. So whilst a lot of people will say to you, right, guys, you're unhappy in what you're doing, quit your job today and we'll find a way to make money tomorrow. Well, some people may survive. Some people may thrive on that. Most people won't, because there's nothing in place. There's no system and there's no structure in place for that. What we need to look at is what we can do whilst we're in the situation that we're in, whatever your situation is, however you're employed, whether you like it, loathe it, hate it. How many people are dreading tomorrow morning? I bet there's a few on this call right now who are dreading tomorrow morning, because Friday night is the ecstasy of we've got 2 days off. Sunday night is the dread. Monday morning is, oh, the trudge to work. Wednesday, these people, I see it on Facebook all the time, they call it hump day. Happy hump day. You're wishing your lives away because you're wishing Friday comes around, so you've got those other 2 days off. All of a sudden, those 2 days go so quickly that we're back into Monday morning again. And that's no way to live your life, because before you know it, you'll be 65. Yes, you may have a pension. You're probably not going to be in a fit place to retire at that particular point in time. So today is the day, regardless of your age, regardless of your income, regardless of your circumstances, today is the day to take control and start this phased exit strategy. Now, what I mean by that is we're going to look at developing our property business whilst we are still enjoying the income of our employed job. And that is something that's very important. Learn while you earn. Upskill in property. So start your education, start your networking, start part-time while you do your day-to-day job, because at the end of the day, the property business is very, very flexible. It's not a 9-to-5 job. You can work on your property business, especially with the advent of information technology now, the websites and all the data which we have available to us online. If you're working 9-to-5, Monday to Friday, you can start your property business around your job. You've got Saturday, you've got Sunday, you've got evenings, you've got early mornings. There's loads of time, no matter what you do, whether you're a shift worker, whether you're a 9-to-5 worker, there's loads of time around what you're currently doing. The time that a lot of people spend downtime, chilling as they call it, watching Netflix, could be time that you could be changing your future. You don't have to work your business 9-to-5. You don't have to quit what you're doing today and start what you're doing tomorrow. You could integrate the two. And again, for the sake of transition, that's what this gives us, is this safe and secure transition. Now, most of the mentees and the students that I take on board, they still have either their own businesses or they're fully employed. And I say to them, please do not quit your job. And I know that goes against the grain. So many other property trainers will say to them, right, quit your job, let's go at it full time. No, let's look at a safe, and that's the risk adversity in me coming out. Let's look at a safe and secure transition from what you're doing now into what you want to do, what your dreams hold, and what reality holds. You know, I think it was Estee Lauder said this very famous quote. She said, I didn't dream about success, I worked hard for it. And that, we've all got this dream whilst we're daydreaming in work, thinking, I really wish I wasn't here. The people I work with, the boss that I've got, the job that I'm doing. You're dreaming about the life of self-employed. But don't dream about it. Work hard, work extra. Stop watching Netflix tonight. Go online, start your education program. We've got a few really good things that I'm going to show you during this presentation that are really going to help you on this journey. The step 2 is to replace your income, and you need to target cash flowing strategies, because at the end of the day, if you're to replace your income, you need a residual monthly income coming in now. Okay, so you need to build a predictable monthly income from property. And there are several different ways that we can do that. Okay, we can do that in flipping properties, in looking at BRR properties, and also other options such as serviced accommodation, and also, for example, sourcing properties too. So there's lots of options that we've got. One of the strategies I don't cover is rent to rent. And there's several reasons for that, which is very keen to me. The principles that I look at in property, the things I really enjoy in property, the golden nuggets I believe in property, and I get really excited when I talk about this. I get almost as excited as, let me think back now to when I was probably in my late 20s when I discovered compound interest. How many people have heard of compound interest and understand it? So many people have heard of it, not many people understand it. Yeah, great. So I get as excited when I talk about this as when I found out about compound interest, because it really, really is the golden nugget of what we're doing in our property business. We're actually finding a way to get a residual income whilst we're still earning, and we've got the safety and the security of our current income. And that is really, really important. So many people think you've got to make the break, stop what you're doing, start something else. That's the worst thing, in my mind, that you can possibly do. We need to integrate the two to have this secure and safe transition. Okay. You need to build yourself at least a 6 to a 12-month buffer. Okay. Now, a lot of people say, well, rent to rent, Ben. That's what, no. Rent to rent is buying yourself another job. And it's probably a job that you'll have to work harder and longer hours than your existing job for less remuneration. Also, like I was just saying, the golden nuggets that we enjoy in our property investment are the ownership opportunities and the capital appreciation opportunities. That's almost as good to me as compound interest. Capital appreciation. If you own a property long term and that property is paying you, that's fantastic. But also, your asset is increasing in value. We all know, since stats began, property doubles in value every 10 years. And that's really important. So we are owning an asset or multiple assets that is increasing at that rate. And that is what pays us. Unfortunately, with rent to rent, we do not have the advantage of ownership or the advantage of the capital appreciation, which is why I don't employ that. But we've got flipping properties, BRR, we've got serviced accommodation, we've also got sourcing properties. There's so many different strategies that we can start very quickly making a good residual monthly income from. So we need to build ourselves a 6 to 12-month buffer. So once we've started in our property journey and we are receiving our residual monthly income, month number 1, we've done really well. Boom, no, don't quit your job. This is really, if any of the property traders sees this, they're going to be spitting at me. That is not the time to quit your job. That is the tested time. So that if we have repeated that over a 12-month period, we know A, our business model is working, and we know B, that we've built up a 6 to 12-month cash buffer. So that, like everything in life, and I'd be lying to you if I said property was all roses, it's not. You will have bumps in the road. The economy does change. We're about to receive a budget from Angela Rayner or Rachel Reeves, or I forget. I don't watch the news anymore because it frustrates me, it angers me, it gets my blood pressure up. When Rachel Reeves obviously announces the next budget, I'm sure there are going to be bumps in the road. But as property investors, what we do is we do not become disheartened by this. We look at what hand of cards we've been dealt. And let's be honest, we can't change. There's nothing we can do. We can moan, we can groan, we can shout, we can bawl, we can protest, we can, I don't know, super glue ourselves to the roads. Whatever these people try and do, it's not going to change what is happening. What we need to do is look at how we can adapt and evolve our business model to become successful within the parameters that we've been dealt with. So we need, in my mind, a 6 to a 12-month buffer, so that if times do get tough, if our ship is sailing through the Caribbean Sea and we're enjoying the sunshine and we're enjoying the storm that's about to hit us, we can ride that storm. We can pull the sails in. We can batten down the hatches and we can ride that storm. So that's really important. In your safe and secure transition, you need a 6 to 12-month buffer. I would say more like a 12-month buffer. But if you are in employed income right now and you set your property business up correctly, you will be able to achieve that buffer extremely quickly because of the difference in what you currently earn and your potential earnings within your own business. If your mindset, your motivation, and you're educated correctly, that is what will happen to you. You need to understand your monthly baseline figure as well, because that's so important. Your single person living on their own in a one-bedroom flat has a very different baseline to a married person who is perhaps got a dependent spouse and children living in a 3 or 4 bedroom house. So you need to understand your monthly baseline. And I've got a free gift coming up a little bit later in this presentation that will really help you, your budget planner, right? But I'm going to give that to all of you as a free gift, the budget planner. You need to budget like a business owner. So you literally need to work out what your monthly expenses are. And it's quite interesting, this, because when you start doing this, so many of us don't, and I'm guilty of this. Once you have a look at your monthly budget, there are so many things that you'll spot on your bank statements, your credit card statements, things you don't really actually need, subscriptions that you've made, outgoings that you don't actually need. So it's actually a really good exercise to do anyway, because what you'll find is you'll say, well, actually, I never watched that TV channel. My mobile phone seems to be costing me an awful lot of money considering I've got an old model. What can you do to change that? There's loads of different things. Could I get more competitive quotes on my insurance? What's my... Those things are essentials that we actually look at. But budget like a business owner and understand your monthly baseline. That's really, really important. Step 4 is to make the leap. Now, we need to set a date. So once we're really comfortable with what we're doing and we have a buffer, a financial buffer in place, we need to set a date with clear financial milestones. Okay, we don't want to quit until the income and everything else meets with our safety net. We need to make sure that we've got that safety net. Like I said earlier, the economy can change, the budget could change things for us when it comes about very soon. The economy could change in general, the property market could change, the world peace situation could change. You know, I mean, we another reason why I don't watch the news, because they want to fill us full. All depressing, bad news. But of course, when Sky News do that to us, it means that Qatar Airlines still keep up their sponsorship, their multi-million-pound sponsorship, because of course so many people are addicted to watching the news because of the bad news. We need to have a look at, again, like I was saying earlier, we need to forget about the lining, the silver lining, and we need to look at this dark cloud and think how we can deal with this in our business. And trust me, I went through the recession of 1991. I was only a child then, but I saw it my father because he was in property. I saw the pain that that caused. I really did. Then myself in 2008, I'll level with you, I was not prepared at all for what happened to us in 2008. And I was knocked over backwards. I was on the floor, sort of with a head injury, metaphorically, watching all these clever people running around doing different things. The strategies they were using in a recession, lease options, assisted sales, things that, you know, work in all markets, but things that work especially well in a recession. And it's fantastic to watch. Now I'm an entirely different person. So if a recession happens, I quite often joke. I say, I'd like a little shake in them. Everyone's go, Ben, why do you say things like that? I said, because I would. Because myself and my team and the people that I've trained and mentored around me are well prepared. You know, we're not fair weather property investors. We are all weather property investors. You know, we've got wellies, we've got wax jackets, we've got swimwear, we've got it all going on. You see so many property investors are only what I call fair weather property investors. When the market is stable or when the market's rising, they're thriving. When the market starts to deplete, it's going to have what panic sets in. They don't know what to do. They've never dealt with it before. They do not know what strategies to employ. The strategies for a depressed market, a recession, they're all completely different to the strategies that we would use in a buoyant market. And that's my goal, is to teach everybody the toolbox. So you've got a toolbox that's laid out with all the tools you need in it to act appropriately. So when you go out in the morning, you look at what the weather's like. Oh, it's sunshine. That's great. I wear my shorts, t-shirt. I got my flip flops on. Oh, it's raining. It's snowing today. Right, I got the wellies on. I've got the thick jacket. We know how we're going to prepare ourselves for any kind of weather that's going to hit us in obviously the cycle, as it is, the property cycle and the economic cycle as well. So we're not going to quit until our income has a buffer and it safely matches, if not, and I would say this, exceeds what we currently have. And that is then the time for us to move on. Property strategies that work whilst being employed, self-employed. Flipping, as I said earlier, deal sourcing, buy-to-let, BRR, service accommodation. These all work, and these are all strategies, if you implement them correctly with a good team around you, can work perfectly. For example, Fran, she used to run a very successful property management company. So if you had a service accommodation unit and you thought, right, I'll do it myself. Oh, yeah. Fans laughing. They say, yeah, you know you can do it yourself. Yeah, those calls at 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't find the code. I'm drunk. Let me in. No, employ a management company because you can still run your 9 to 5 job, your shift job, whatever employment you're in right now. You can still run that whilst the management company is looking after your asset for you and they're looking after the income. And trust me on one thing, in everything we do, whether it's painting a wall, whether it's managing property, whether it's looking at legal documents, a solicitor will do it better looking at legal documents than you, no matter how experienced you are. It's their job. They're qualified. They do it every single day. Your City and Guilds qualified painter, decorator, time served. He'll paint that wall. No matter how good you are, he'll paint that wall better than you will. He'll paint it quicker and better than you could do it. Your management company, they'll look after your guests. They'll look after your tenants better than you could ever do it. So why would you leverage your time to do that when you could have these other trades in place? That's all part of the training that we do, the ethos that we do, is using your skill set to what you do best and looking after your business and ultimately giving yourself the freedom. You know, you employ a management company, so Fran's looking after your service accommodation, you'll never get calls. All you receive is a monthly statement showing how much money you've earned that month, what the expenditure was, based upon obviously what you've, you know, the occupancy, but they'll look after that for you as well. You know, you're not going to be able to do it as well as Fran can. I mean, how many units were you running, Fran? 100 plus? I think it was somewhere in the region of that.
Yeah, we had, well, just before we sold, we had 200, but I've probably managed about 350, 400 properties in my time.
Right. So tell me, I've managed one property, not me personally, but I'm just talking a guy off the street, right? Do you think I'm going to be able to do it as well as Fran can? The answer is absolutely categorically no. And that's the difference. Okay. So we need to look at strategies that work whilst we're still employed, whilst we've still got the income that we have now, so we can expand and scale the business in a safe and secure way whilst we've still got our safety net. And that again is really important. We need to be realistic with the numbers. What is it going to take to replace our salary? Again, like I was saying about your baselines, everyone is different. You know, I know people that survive on 15 grand a year. I know other people that spend over 150,000 pounds a year. I'm not looking at my wife, but anyway. That's the difference, is that everybody. So what you've got to look at is what you need to replace your income. So let's say, for example, we look at a small flip. Now, a small flip, we always look at 20 to 25% return on investment. We don't look at the pounds. And that's all, again, part of my training. We don't look at the pounds. We look at return on investment. Because if you said to me, I've made £25,000 out of a £100,000 investment, I would say spot on, fantastic. If you said to me, I've made 30 grand out of a £300,000 investment, I would say that's absolutely shockingly bad. But that's 5 grand more. No, but you've spent 3 times the amount to achieve that, if that makes sense. So we look at the return on investment, but what we've also got to look at when we're looking at replacing our salary, replacing our incomes, is what our monthly baseline is. So if we said, right, we are currently looking at a baseline of 40 grand a year. That's what I earn, £40,000 a year. Okay. If we do 2 flips in a 12-month period, and each flip is accruing us £25,000 profit, we know that we can exceed our salary by £10,000 by doing just 2 small flips in a 12-month period. Now, I could do that whilst being away for probably, I reckon, 350 out of the 365 days a year, and without any kind of communication. I could go to the Antarctic. Not that I want to. I much prefer Antigua, and that's another story. But I could do that on 15 days a year. Now, how can I do that? Well, let me tell you something, and I'll go back to this, right? My first flip that I ever did, because I had no training. I worked in a state agency. I'd been brought up by my father. I had a really good start. I'll level with you. I had a really, really good start, but I had no formal training. I didn't go on any training course because there weren't any out there. I wasn't educated. I wasn't mentored. I didn't even think about it. I just kind of thought, well, the best way is if I bumble through this. My first flip, it was 6 months. It took me. And for 6 months, I did pretty much a major full-time job on this flip. Probably, well, it was definitely more than the standard working directive of 40 hours per week, let me tell you, for one flip. Then fast forward to 2018, I did 13 flips in 12 months. And it took a lot less effort and a lot less time than that one flip. Well, how the hell is that going to 13 in 1 year? So that's 6.5 in the same time frame that I did one, and it took me probably half the time because I had systems in place. I knew what I was doing. I developed a program rather than running around like a headless chicken between Screwfix and Howdens and builders merchant. I was literally, they'd say, Ben, have you got the skirting boards? Yep. Right, okay. Have you got the nails? No, go back, get the nails. Right, okay. How about the door handles? Yeah, I got the door handles. Latch packs? No, I haven't got the latch packs. That's what would happen every single day. I must have used so much fuel, but so much wear on my car for something so unnecessary. Fast forward to 2018, our spreadsheet that we use to analyze the deal to get our offer accepted on our project property turns into our schedule of works. So when we acquire the property, we order 12 latch packs. We order 24 door handles. We order 24 hinges. The kitchen is all pre-ordered. Everything is systemized and chronologically ordered to turn up in time. So therefore, what you actually do is you do yourself out of a job, and you have to find a good hobby or something to do. I started mentoring and coaching people because I was doing all these flips and I had no work to do. I turn up to site, everything is as it should be. We're ahead of schedule, everything looks beautiful. The tradespeople know what they're doing. They know what colour the walls are. They know what bathrooms come in. They know the kitchen's already arrived. They started fitting it. They've got all the door handles, all the latch packs. They've got all the hinges they need. They've got the skirting boards. Everything they need is all there ready and waiting for them. So I'd turn up and I'd be like, hi, guys. They'd be like, yeah, all right, Ben. I'd be like, yeah. See the match last night? I don't know. I just made conversation. I go on to the next property then. It would be the same thing. So I literally, that was like seven-ish years ago. I had nothing to do. So that's when I started training and mentoring people because I wanted to fill my time. And since I've been doing that, it's become the most, how can I say this, the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. Watching people who've got no experience in property, scared, fearful of the unknown, to the people that are successful property investors who have forged themselves a business. That to me is so rewarding. Now, going back to what I say, you need to work out what your monthly requirements are, what your baseline is. And like I said earlier, I'm giving you the free gift, which is the financial freedom planning tool. Okay. So it's basically like a budget planner, but it's really good because first of all, it will sort you out, as in, you'll you'll sort the wheat from the chaff, basically. And you'll think, I don't need that. Why am I paying for that? That magazine subscription, it doesn't turn up to my current address. All stuff like that, right? That will sort you out, but it will also be a really good baseline for you to establish what you need to replace your income, okay? And that, again, is uber important. Now, I mentioned earlier about how risk adverse I am, and a lot of people worry about property because if we, for example, make decisions in life, these decisions do have an effect upon us. So if we, for example, decide to go to a new sandwich bar for lunch and it's rubbish, we simply throw the sandwich in the bin and we go somewhere else the following day or whatever we're doing. It doesn't really matter. It's £5. If we buy a property for £100,000, £200,000, £300,000 and we get it wrong, that is not throw it away and start again tomorrow, right? This is a serious business, so we need to make sure that we get it right. So I operate with a huge level of risk adversity. I keep my overheads extremely low. I've built a network of professionals around me. So I have people like brokers, solicitors, accountants, surveyors. I've got all these people on tap, and these people are tried, they're tested, and they're trusted. And that's what you've got to do, so that you've got places and people to call on. You know, don't use, and I've got probably the biggest property Facebook group. And so many people, I see them asking a question on the Facebook group, and they'll ask something like, I've just bought a property that's in poor condition. Will I have to pay stamp duty on it? Now, there's this rumor going around, and it's true, that if you buy a derelict property, a property that requires structural alterations, etc., you can reclaim the stamp duty, or in Wales it's called the land transaction tax. But so many people misunderstand it because it's not what they think it is. If you get a house and you just put a new kitchen, new bathroom, replaster the walls, perhaps change the heating and electricity, that's not classified as a property that would be exempt from the stamp duty. Yet so many people are reclaiming it. So they go on Facebook and they ask the question, I've just bought a house that's a little bit tired. Will I be able to reclaim the stamp duty? And you see all these people going, yes, no, 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 yes, 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 no, 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 yes, yes, yes. And you think, hang on a second, you've just got 30 answers. What are you going to do? Go with like the average of what the majority was saying? Or are you going to phone a conveyancer, a solicitor, who will be able to definitively tell you the correct answer? For me, it's simple. I'd always go with that. I won't ask the audience. I won't ask, and with all due respect to people in the group, I won't ask people who are not qualified to answer my questions. I will go to somebody who is qualified to answer the question. I'll ask the question to them, and I'll be happy with the answer that they give me, because it comes with an indemnity. Because if a solicitor gives you incorrect advice, obviously when you're paying for it, if they give you incorrect advice, they are liable for any kind of loss or injustice due to that malpractice. So that's really important. Build a network of professionals. Next is don't over leverage. And that was probably one of the biggest lessons I learned in 2008. My father used to say to me in the run up to 2008, you know, we get the parental lectures, yeah? I still get them now, by the way. My dad used to say to me, you're too highly geared and you're buying the wrong properties. I just used to laugh and just shrug it off. Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm 26. I know everything. I'm just, yeah, okay. 2008 struck. Guess what? My dad was right. I was too highly leveraged and I bought the wrong properties. So you live and learn. But one of the best things to learn is don't over leverage. When we're, for example, refinancing properties, we always look at a 75% loan to value at current market value, not fire sale, not over market value, not below market value, whatever people want to do. I look at current market value. So if we leverage at 75%, if we look back over what happened in 2008 and what happened in 1991 as two prime examples of when property, as a result of the recession, did drop in value, they didn't drop in most primary areas below 20%. So if we're leveraged at 75% loan to value, we are still going to have positive equity within our properties. Not that it matters anyway, because even if your property does drop below, it's worth, if you've got, for example, a rental property with a tenant in there, during times like recession, during times of pandemic, times of world war, it's a proven fact that rental demand gets even better than it is right now. It soars. And rental demand is at an all-time high. We are in a housing crisis as a nation, which I'm sure you probably all are aware of. We haven't replenished any of our council stock, our affordable stock. We're not to the level that we need to. We've sold most of it off under the right to buy system. So therefore, as a nation, we are dependent upon private landlords. And that just makes our business model much, much stronger. So in a recession, a depression, a pandemic, and whatever we've seen in our lifetimes, you'll find that rental demand will soar. So as long as you've got a tenant in that property paying the mortgage, as long as the rates, now we learned this in 1991, they put the rates up to 14%. It could be higher than that, but I think it was about 14%. In 2008, they didn't put the rates up. They simply, everything went static. So if you had a tenant in your property and you didn't panic and didn't think, oh my God, my house is is only worth 100,000 and I owe 110,000 pounds, don't worry about it, because that 100,000 pound house today would be worth 200,000 pounds. So your worry back in 2008 is a distant memory. Your mortgage was always serviced, your tenant always paid the rent, and that's absolutely fine. Use legal agreements in joint ventures. A lot of people say, well, he's a friend of mine and we've known each other 20 years. I don't care. This is money, and money can taint people. Money can change people. Money can do a lot. So when we are doing a joint venture partnership or any kind of business deal that exposes us to a risk with another party, we need to have the correct legal documentation in place. And finally, seek education, coaching, and guidance, because a good mentor, just looking for one now, a good mentor will lead the pathway for you. And that's really, really important. So I hope you've taken all of that on board, because that's really important. So what's your first 12 months could look like? And I'm picking on that they're not with us this evening. My mentees, Craig and Laura. Okay. Now, Craig and Laura joined me some time ago. Craig worked full-time. Laura had a business, and they decided that property was the way forward for them. So month 1 to 6, they joined my program, education, networking, and setting up the business. They met a lot of people by coming to the networking meetings. Not only property people, people new to property, people in property, but also tradespeople, professional services, etc. So they built their network up. Month 3 to 6, the first deal was secured and the income started. Month 6 to 12, completed the first project. The first flip project they did with my assistants, they made a £41,000 profit. And I'm not, when I say with my assistants, I was obviously coaching and mentoring them, but at the same time, their diligence, their effort, their vision, everything they got, they put into that project, and it worked for them. And it's just the living, breathing proof. They've never done a property project before, but they made a £41,000 profit. And now they've left their job and business behind, and they've scaled the business. And I think they're on to their second and third project as we speak right now, which is really exciting for them. So it's not just me saying what you could achieve. This is living, breathing, absolute proof of what people have achieved in property from a standing start, which I think is really exciting. Don't know about you. What is stopping you? Well, we all get this, and I never thought I'd suffer with it. But I'll share something with you. I was ill for the first time in my life. I was ill earlier this year. I got a diagnosis. I was diagnosed with bowel cancer. And when they first diagnose you, they tell you you've got bowel cancer. They tell you you've got a tumor. He actually showed it on the screen, which was lovely. Lovely to watch. He showed me the tumor on the screen when I was having the colonoscopy done. And in that time, they tell you that you've got cancer, and they tell you that it's bowel cancer, but they can't tell you anything else because you haven't had the CT scan, you haven't had the MRI scan, or any of the other tests done. So the kind of position they put you in is a position of best case scenario, operation, remove the tumor, it'll all be fine. Worst case scenario, you could be dead by Christmas. Because we don't know whether it's spread to your other organs, your liver, your bones, and all that and stuff. I don't understand. I really don't want to understand, to be honest with you. So for a few weeks, you're in this kind of scenario when you're thinking to yourself, right, I've got to be. And I'm the most, as you probably guessed, I'm the most positive person ever. You know, there's never a grey sky with me. It's always blue. And I'd be sat there at night thinking to myself, right, I'm going to get through this. I'll have the operation done. I may have to have radiotherapy or chemotherapy, but I'll get through it. I'll be fine. This is how the business will run. This is my family all around me, really supportive. I'm lucky. I'll get through this. And this little voice inside my head would go, well, you didn't do too well at the last test, did you? I'd be like, what? What are you saying to me now? Oh, God, right. So it could be, couldn't it? I could be one of those people that is facing death. I could be stage 4. I could be. And all these horrible, horrible thoughts enter your brain because that's human nature. That's what our psyche does to us. And I never thought in my life I would suffer with that, but I did. And I used to lay awake at night thinking, I wonder whether he'll come to my funeral. I wonder whether, what am I thinking? Anyway, just to cut a long story short, guys, I was really super lucky. I had the operation done and it hadn't spread. So therefore, I'm now all clear, which I'm really grateful for. The NHS staff were amazing, fantastic. Everything they did for me, I'm uber grateful because they've given me the rest of my life back now, which I've now got. So everyone's got some kind of nagging doubt that's going to be hitting them. You know, what if I fail? I don't have time. I don't know where to start. I don't have the confidence. I haven't got enough money. I'm not born into business. I'm not born into. There's 1,000,000,000 different reasons that you can tell yourself why you can't do this. But I've just proved to you with the example on the previous slide that you can do it with the right mindset and the right network around you. You can achieve this. The only thing stopping you is you. Right. Number 5, the 5-part transition plan. Number 1, you need to learn and you need to build your skills. There's an information overload on the internet right now. There's too many videos on YouTube. There's too much stuff on Instagram. There's too much information. In the old days, we used to pay for information. Or if you're really diligent, you go to a big city library and be able to sift through the books and the references in that library. Today, you can get any answer to any question, any bit of information on your smartphone within seconds. And yes, that's a blessing. I see it as a blessing in some ways. I see it in a curse as some ways as well. Remember the days when you'd be on a long journey and a track would come on and you'd say, right, that's George Michael. Yeah, that was number 1 in 1985. And someone would go, no, well, it was 86. You could have a 2-hour argument, a brilliant 2-hour argument about that. Today it's quashed because someone goes on their phone and goes, yeah, actually, it was the 1st of January, 1985. Boom. Where's the fun in that? The internet has spoiled a lot for it. Don't get me wrong, it's done great things, but there's too much information. So what you need to do is you really need to learn and build your skills. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways which you can do this a little bit later on during the presentation. You need to test your strategies whilst you're employed because you've still got that monthly income coming in. Now, if your strategies don't work for you, we need to refine them. You need to get help. Because if you are looking at the strategy to flip a property, if you're looking at BRR, if you're looking at sourcing properties, if you're looking at serviced accommodation, yeah, it does work. And there's nothing special about any of us that are doing these things and making them work. It's just that we have the knowledge in which to make them work. Okay. So if you're not achieving success, don't turn around and say, oh, property's not for me. I'm just the wrong person. You're not the wrong person. Because I don't have any O levels, A levels. I mean, I haven't even got a spirit level, believe it or not. But that's another story entirely. There's nothing special about anybody that's in property making it successful. They've just got the right knowledge and the right mindset, and they're pushing it forward. You need to build your income. And that's really important because you need to build your income to build a buffer for when you make that leap of faith. And that is creating your safety net, which in turn will bring number 5, where you can exit confidently. And that's really important. I could add another word, competently and confidently. So we could add competence is something that's really needed there as well. Okay. What I want to talk about now, because you're probably looking at me thinking, well, this is great. How do we get this information? First and foremost, we have launched a SKOOL platform. It was something that Luke brought to me and he showed me. It's an incredible platform, the SKOOL, as in the worldwide platform. It's an incredible platform. If you want to learn karate, if you want to learn how to bake, if you want to learn how to scuba dive, you can literally learn any skill on the SKOOL platform because of the way that it's actually set up. So we've developed our own platform within the platform of SKOOL. So what you've got on SKOOL is you've got a community of people. So you've got like-minded people. Because the worst thing in business is if you're starting a property business by yourself, you can sometimes face loneliness is one thing, and you can also face opposition. So your family and your friends, they are genuinely looking out for you and they want to protect you, but sometimes they can give you really bad advice. Oh, you don't want to be buying a property. You don't want to get involved. It's bad news. You want to stay in your job and take your pension when you're 65, 75, however old your pension. No. Those people mean well, but they are ill-advised themselves. Okay, so on the SKOOL platform, you'll get a community of not only tradespeople, professional services, people willing to help you. You'll also get like-minded people, people that have taken the leap of faith or are thinking of taking the leap of faith like you. So if you're thinking about starting your property business, and you've got a few eeks and ikes, and you don't want to ask me about it because, like, I'm the most positive person in the world, and I'll tell you the truth. Ask one of the people in there that started their journey. How do you find? Yeah, I found it hard at first. It was a big step to take, but since then I've achieved this, and I've done this, and I've gone on, and we made this amount. You'll speak to people that will really put you in the right place. There's a property beginners course on there. There's various training modules, such as the recession training I was talking about earlier. That's the golden nugget. Always remember, like, recession training. There's webinar recordings for webinars just like this. There's networking with over 300 plus property investors, and they're all property people. They're not just random people on here like on Facebook. They are all people that have joined the group because they have a genuine interest in property. You can message me on there as well, and we'll have a chat. There's module 1 for the accelerator program. It's really, the accelerator program is something that's so exciting. I'm just really excited by that. I'm not going to tell you about it because I've got someone far better looking, far prettier than me to tell you about that, but she'll come up now. Networking, ability to message me, module 1 accelerator, and fortnightly property networking webinars. As you remember, I spoke about Craig and Laura earlier. Okay, Craig and Laura, like I say, joined my program and have achieved immense success, and they're very keen to share in their success. They're such lovely people. They want to share their success with other people. So I basically started a couple of years ago a fortnightly property networking webinar where we just get together. It's really informal. You can sit on there, you can turn your camera off if you're cooking dinner and just listen, or you can get involved, you can ask questions. I'm on there normally. Jamie French, the managing director of Notebook Money, expert finance broker. So if you've got a question about bridging finance or buy-to-let mortgages or your mortgage on your own home, he'll be on there. But Craig and Laura host it, and they're absolutely brilliant because, of course, most people going on there are thinking of making the big step into property, and they can say, well, how did you do it? What did you think about it? And, of course, because it's so recent and fresh for them, they're ideal people to talk to. Okay, so the fortnightly networking webinars are absolutely fantastic. This is all free. Luke is going to email you afterwards with the links for the South Wales Property School. Okay, everything on there is all, apart from the paid programs, are all entirely free of charge. There's no obligation. Get yourself on there because it's a really, really good starting point. But if you want to accelerate your journey, Fran, like I said, she's, like I said earlier, in terms of comment, Fran, you're far better looking than me. I don't often say she's going to talk to you now about our accelerator program, which is absolutely brilliant.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much, Ben. I just love your positivity on this Sunday evening. It's yes, it's getting me through. So for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Fran, and I've built, scaled, and now sold my own serviced accommodation business. I now work with property investors and hosts to help them set up and run profitable short-term rentals the right way. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about Ben's Property Accelerator course. It's designed to take you from an idea to action with a complete framework for building a property business. So inside the course, there's 13 core modules, and there's over 100 lessons as well, covering everything from sourcing deals, funding, refurb projects, to building your team and scaling a portfolio. There's also a dedicated module on service accommodation, which I've written, and it walks you through exactly how to set up, manage, and scale a high-performing short-term rental business as part of your wider property strategy. Also, you'll get access to all of Ben's tools and resources, the exact templates and spreadsheets and checklists he uses in his own business. Plus, you'll get lifetime access to all the content, so you can keep coming back as your business grows and you're scaling. Another huge benefit is access to Ben's network and trade supplier discount. Now, this is absolute gold. because it saves you up to 80% on materials. That alone is a game changer for all of his students that has access to it. And as a bonus, you'll get to join Ben for a full in-person training day. Now, this is going to be absolutely fantastic because it brings everyone together that's on this course. You can bring a guest for free, and it's going to have really interactive workshops where you can go through each of the modules together, plan your business the right way. And you have the chance to network with other investors as well. So it doesn't matter where you are on the modules, you'll all still come together. You can ask Ben any questions. If you're unsure of anything, if you want to go really dive into a specific module, that day will just bring it all come to life, and you'll leave ready to start or scale your property business. It really is a practical hands-on program that's all about implementation. It's not just theory, so you get to walk away with a clear plan and real momentum. If you do have any other questions, myself, Ben, Luke, we're all really happy to answer them at the end of this presentation. We're really excited about it. We hope to see lots of you there. But for now, I'm going to hand back to Ben to carry on with the rest of the webinar.
Excellent, thank you. It's so nice to have Fran on board because her experience in property, especially serviced accommodation, is second to none. She's my first port of call. If ever I have a question myself about the short-term, mid-term rentals, etc., Fran's always my first port of call. Fran, I found a brilliant property. It's in this. Honestly, she's absolutely fantastic. So always worth a call with Fran. Always worth talking to her. And of course, the Property Accelerator program that she's become instrumentally involved with is a huge asset. Just one last thing that I want to go through with you is a lot of people say to me, well, Ben, we actually want you to hold our hands through the whole process. So everything which Fran has mentioned on the Accelerator program, I actually do a one-to-one. I've mentored now close to 60 people on a one-to-one basis, which is where I basically hold your hand throughout the whole training. We do it all one-to-one. And also we do our first project together. So it's kind of like a sort of stage above. Obviously, the cost is far higher than the Accelerator program. It depends where you are, what you want, and what I can do for you. But they're completely bespoke. It's all, like I say, completely one-to-one. And you basically own me for a long time in your property journey. And that's what some people like. So there's various different options out there for you guys. You know, we've got, obviously, starting off, like I promised you, that we've got the free South Wales Property School platform, which is amazing. Every single one of you, I want you to get on board with that. If you are interested in the Property Accelerator course, you can, of course, speak to Fran about that, and she'll be on hand to help you with that. And if you want to talk about the one-to-one mentorship as well, I can help you with that. And I always feel that, you know, it's all very well for me to sit here telling you about how wonderful and the results we've achieved, but just listen to what people have said. These are people that have recently been on the program with me. So let's just have a look at what they've got to say.
Hi, I'm Claire, and I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Ben for all of your support over the last 18 months or so. We honestly could not have done it without you. We are currently just hopefully completing next week on our first flip project. And we are almost finished on our second project of renovating for a BRR. We honestly could not have done it without Ben, from the education he's provided us with to kind of a mini survey of us understanding property and what we're looking for so that we can budget correctly. We can also do the finance side to finding the right trades. If we've ever had any issues with trades, Ben has always stepped in to help. He has always found us. He's always got a guy, and he's got a great network, and he will always know somebody who can do something for you. So he very much educates us and you to find it for yourself and figure it out. If for whatever reason they let us down or we can't find somebody who can do what it is that we need to do, Ben is there. He's always on hand to answer any questions and connect you with his connections so that you can make sure you get the project done on time and when you need it. We can't thank Ben enough. We're just, as I said, finishing up on those two projects, and we have another one in the pipeline already, which is something very different. And Ben's just, he's just incredible with all of his knowledge. Like, we honestly cannot thank him enough for all of the support that he has provided us, because we just know we wouldn't have done it ourselves without him. We wouldn't, even down from finding the property, you know, Ben very much helped us acquire those as well. So massive thank you to Ben. We don't know what we'd do without you. Don't want to make your head any bigger, but if you are looking for somebody to help get you started, teach you everything that you need to know, then I cannot recommend Ben enough. He is such great value for money. And yeah, we just couldn't have done it without him. So thank you.
That really melts my heart, because Claire and her mum came on board. They run I'm not sure the word for it. It's they've got a business whereby they send carers into people's homes. So for people who are perhaps disabled or elderly or what have you, rather than going into a care home themselves, they send the carers into the homes. And they were very keen to obviously start a property business, to start a property portfolio. So we did a flip to start with. Then the second project is a BRR. And also, what was interesting that came up, the office where they work from came on the market for sale. So we've done, like, as part of the one-to-one mentorship program, we've done a complete sort of project analysis on it, and I've worked out a deal for them to buy the building and convert the other bits of commercial into residential. So they've got obviously a cash flowing asset, and it gives them, in essence, a free office, which was really exciting. So it's been really great to work with them. Another couple that I also have worked with recently as well, they've just completed their first flip project, and they are probably going to complete on the purchase of their second in the next 2 to 3 weeks. That I've worked with very closely are Demi and Nathan. So let's hear what they've got to say.
18 months ago, we took the decision to get into property development. It's something we've been looking to do for quite some time. But with that, we were a little bit unsure on what to do, as you do when you start a business. I believe that anybody who's starting in something new should take on a mentor.
We took the decision to put our trust in Ben, who has guided us through our whole journey from start to finish.
Ben has been in the game for a long, long time, and I myself, somebody who would like to work with somebody who's been there and done it. After a quick message and a phone call with Ben, it became apparent that we got off to a good start, and he was able to come up with a plan with ourselves and go through the whole journey of the first renovation. He was there from start to finish.
Nothing complicated.
No complications.
There was evening classes that you could sort of link into, that he sort of offered your advice and support with, but is always on hand 24 hours a day. Nathan's not the most patient person, shall we say. Full steam ahead, 24 hours.
So yeah,
constant connection.
With that, it was really refreshing to see somebody who really wants to help people succeed. And with that, I feel as though we really invested in the correct mentor in order for us to succeed within the property world.
But if anybody who would say is worried or unsure about navigating this crazy journey of property, I, for one, was probably the most skeptical out of the companionship, shall we say. But definitely investing our time into Ben was the best thing we could have done.
So if you need to, honestly, just message Ben Hollingsworth, or his business is Symphony Kingdom. I'm sure he's got a website. If you type in Symphony Kingdom, it should appear. But you definitely won't be disappointed. And long may our business ventures with Ben continue.
Cheers, Ben.
Cheers all.
Again, I'm, like I say, it melts my heart just to see that people who have never worked in property before achieving that level of success and being so happy in their property journey with us, you know, myself and the team at Symphony Kingdom. I mean, we've got dozens and dozens of people that we've helped along the way, and so many people, you know, every person that has been with me on a one-to-one basis has gone on to achieve great stuff in property, which is so exciting. And I still like to speak to people. I mean, for example, I speak to mentees of, you know, sort of 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and see where they're at right now, and just see them building portfolios and see them achieving their dreams in property is absolutely fantastic. And I just want to show you that, not to obviously boost my own ego, believe it or not, but to just prove that what we do does actually work and it does actually help. I think, you know, the proof of the pudding has always been in the eating, and just to see so many testimonials from people that, like I say, never worked in property before, a very limited experience in property, have achieved such great things within property. And it boils down to one simple thing. It's not actually complicated. Okay, you just need to know what you're doing. Like I said, there's too much information on the internet. You know, it used to be free of charge. Sorry, it used to be chargeable. It's now free of charge, but there's too much. You know, what you need to know is how to implement that information, and how to strategize, and how to create a system for your business to successfully move forward, which is so important. If you're interested in the accelerator program, I would suggest that you do sign up, and everybody on this webinar, it's 30 minutes that you will get invaluable information from Fran. So if you are interested in that, like I say, Luke will be sending out the links to you. We'll be talking afterwards, and we can go from there with it. But in the meantime, guys, I just want to thank everybody for coming on this webinar and giving up just over an hour of your time on a Sunday. Does anyone have any questions? If you do, please unmute your microphone and shout away. Everyone's gone quiet. I can see the tumbleweed rolling through. That's good though, guys, because it really is nice to know that we've obviously given you a lot of information this evening. There's so much here. Like I say, the call with Fran for your roadmap call will be absolutely invaluable. If anyone's interested in serviced accommodation, by the way, she's quite the force to be talking to right now. But in the meantime, if nobody does have any questions, I thank you all again for coming on this presentation. And indeed, if you do have anything, in the links will also be my email address. So please feel free to message me directly. Please jump on the SKOOL platform, because that's entirely free of charge. Let's use that as a baseline. But also, like I say, I would, if I was at any stage of my property journey, I still have a roadmap call with Fran about once a week about serviced accommodation. I come up with all these bright ideas, and she either quashes them or she encourages them, depending on obviously the strength of them. So yeah, guys, thank you so much, everybody. It's been lovely to have you all on board. Darren, I just saw your hand go up there. Have you got a question?
Yeah, so you did suggest that you do personal mentorship. Great, because we all need that from time to time. I would be fresh to the South Wales area. Would you consider an NEA role?
Sorry, what? I missed the last bit.
Would you consider an NEA role?
Well, I don't understand that, sorry.
Non-executive advisor. So you basically work on a percentage of the profit type basis. Or is that a question for a different time?
Sorry, I just don't understand. So, sorry, you just caught me by shock then. So, sorry, non-executive advisor, as in you advising us, or us advising you?
You advising me.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, probably the best thing for us to do, Darren, is for us to have a call, and we can sort of discuss your personal circumstances. I mean, with respect to everybody on this group right now, I know there might be things that people want to talk about that they wouldn't want to talk about in a group situation, their finances or their circumstances. So yes, certainly. When Luke sends through the link, you know, if you want to have a call, like I say, my contact details will be on there. Please, I'm very approachable. I love talking, as you probably guessed from this evening's presentation. So yeah, I'd always welcome a one-to-one call, and you know, we can see how we can help you, because that is my main role now. You know, in everything that's happened in my life, I've achieved, and I'll be honest with you all now, I've achieved a lot of success in property. Okay. However, the biggest successes that I look at in my life are the things that are not necessarily what other people would measure as success. And when I look at my family, when I look at my children, when I look at, obviously, you know, helping other people, they are major successes. So I'm not, how can I put this nice? I'm not profit driven. I am success driven. So yeah, Darren, please make contact with me and we will have the conversation. I'd welcome that. And thank you for coming on board.
You're probably aware of my head flicking around. I've got multiple screens on the go. One of them currently is your LinkedIn page. I've just sent you a message.
Awesome. I look forward to it. I'll be on that. Before we go, is there anyone else from anyone else? I think pretty much we are done for the evening. I know I've taken an hour and 14 minutes of your time, but I thank you all for joining us. I hope it was of benefit to you. Please give me any feedback, good, bad, indifferent, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Thank you, guys. All the best to you.